Welcome back, everyone. Episode 2. You're listening to Formation, the podcast, and we are your co-hosts, Elle and Nat.
In today's episode, we're going to be covering off SUZUKA, the Japan Grand Prix, and talking about our predictions for Bahrain next week, which we are so lucky to have 2 back-to-back races, well, actually 3. But it's just thank God we have another race to look forward to, because that was a bit of a snooze fest, to say the least.
I think everyone can agree that it was absolutely a snooze fest.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the most thrilling race, but we sit through it, we do it. There's still things that we can talk about. So we'll have a full ep ready to go.
Exactly right. I think we've been so spoiled with the first 2 races that we almost need kind of a dip in excitement
Palate cleanse.
so we can start to build again, because I don't know where we were going to keep, building. The trajectory was just aiming to the sky. And
I'm here for it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Launch it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, we needed a little bit of a dip so we can, start to build again, build that excitement back up.
The storm is always brewing.
Shall we start with Friday? So free practice 1 and free practice 2.
What were your thoughts on practice, Nat?
Jack, our boy, Aussie boy Jack, that was scary. That was so scary.
That was insane.
Wow.
How he walked away from that, like he actually got out and walked out. That isn't 300 kilometers an hour into that wall.
I don't know. And when the cameras don't show you the replay straight away, my mind
it's bad. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it's bad. It's bad. He's not getting out of the car. Why isn't he getting out of the car?
Like, out of respect.
Get out of the car.
It's like,
yeah, it was so scary watching it. And then as soon as you just see his little radio message on the side, I'm okay. Thank God. Thank God. It's just, yeah, it makes you realize what these 20 drivers do every day, putting their lives on the line. It is
risk.
Wild. It is just next level. And the cars, at the end of the day, they're not bulletproof. Like, yes, they have all these safety measures in place, but the way it just crumbled.
Closest to bulletproof, right? The way that he got out of that. And so with that,
talk to me.
Only track that it could happen, right?
The fastest track.
Fastest track. Fastest corner. Like, what other track or corner do you actually accelerate into?
Yeah, with DRS. Jack doing.
So I guess for those maybe that don't necessarily know what we're talking about, or maybe didn't watch the race. Not the race.
Practice session.
Practice. I'm already gone to the race. That's how boring everything was. So maybe let's talk about a little bit what happened.
Well, this is what we've been told. Like, the teams aren't going to give us all the information because they don't want to come out of this looking like idiots, they don't want to look silly.
Yeah.
But Jack took a corner that, you're driving 300 kilometers per hour at, and in the simulator, so basically, a pretend simulation of driving the car around that track, he took the corner with his DRS open, so drag reduction system, for those that don't know. It's where a gap in the back of the wing of the car opens up a little bit and it gives them an extra 15, 20 kilometers on a straight. So they use it in the race to help with overtaking. But obviously when they're doing a qualifying lap, they want to get all the time they can. So in the simulator, he took the corner with the DRS open. So he thought, I'm going to just drive it like a driver in the simulator. And he went straight into the wall. He was too fast. So either someone at Alpine forgot to tell him, you can't leave DRS open at that corner. They didn't turn it off. I'm not sure how it works. Like, can the team turn DRS off?
I think so. I don't know 100%. But I think in that instance, he does manually have to turn it off. And obviously, being his first time on that track, did he know? Did someone actually tell him? I'm just so baffled by it, because even in his interviews afterwards, he was
fumbling,
just literally cutting them off. Not cutting them off, but just saying, I won't be commenting any further on that. So they've obviously given instruction, like, we need to go back, come up with our story, because something's gone wrong. The communication has just died there. And it could have been an absolute disaster.
I know.
And the fact that he actually got out, he was okay, not even a concussion, like nothing, no injury, and got back out there.
I was waiting for them to say he's got concussion symptoms, they're putting Franco in the car, and that was going to be his F1 dream over. I was really
excited for Colapinto.
Yeah, no, we love Franco. Franco stands over here. But I did feel sorry for him. I thought, he's just the last thing he really needs at the moment.
And I was so, as you would have heard last week, if you listened to our episode last week, I was all for Jack coming out this week.
A comeback king.
Keeping his seat, proving that he can keep his seat.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened, and I was just gobsmacked.
Side note, I just saw on something on Instagram that Franco was testing an Alpine car today, also with one of their other reserve drivers, because they have like 27 reserve drivers this season or something.
Yeah, right.
But he was in a car, so
stay tuned.
Watch this space.
Yeah.
But yeah, poor Jack. I think that kind of took over and overshone everything that happened on the Friday. Was there anything else that happened on the Friday? Actually, Yuki, right at the start of FP1, Yuki comes out, puts his soft set of tyres on, and he's P2 right behind Russell. I was like, Yuki, he's got it. That's it. Bang. Red Bull. Problem solved. Yuki, home race, he's going to be amazing. But yeah, that didn't go to plan.
It did not. So I guess that leads us into Saturday, FP3 and qualifying.
Yes. FP3, I think, I'm still thinking about Yuki, poor thing. FP2, I don't think he had a proper qualifying simulation run. He was down in P16 or something like that, but he never actually got to do a full lap on a soft set of tyres. But FP3, I think he was 3/10 behind Max, which it's Max. It's great. He was up in the top 10. I was thinking, he's going to put it together in qualifying and whip something out of his hat, out of his bag of tricks. But no, qualifying came.
Yeah.
And it just didn't go how we thought it was going to go, did it?
No, not at all, actually. Not at all.
Q1, we had Lance, Jack Ocon, Gabrielle, and the Hulk all out. Not really any big surprises there. I mean, Lance last, just found his way back home.
He did. Welcome home, Lance.
I know.
Before we get right into Q2 and Q3, the fires.
Oh, yeah.
It got to the point where I was like, oh, the grass is on fire. Oh, the grass is on fire. The grass is on fire. This is annoying now. Because it just was causing so many red flags.
As soon as a red flag popped up, you weren't even thinking, is everyone okay? What's going on? You just almost knew there's a fire somewhere.
Absolutely. And to have a red flag for the last 10 minutes of FP3 before going into that qualifying is just not ideal whatsoever. So that was just super disappointing. But, it happened. Where did it happen last year? Were they saying it was China? Yeah.
Right. So after one or two fires, one session, they figured out a solution to the problem. I think they laid a chemical down on the grass and prevented the problem. We didn't see another fire throughout the whole weekend. This was just fire after fire after fire. At one point, one of them had like a bucket of water. I'm like, is that the best option? Is that all they have? A bucket of water?
My pail of water.
Literally, just walking it down to the track.
Or they should have just got those kids from Little Rascals with their hoses.
Anything would have been better than what they did because it did not work.
At least they figured it out eventually.
But in saying that, thank God for the fires because they actually spiced up the weekend a little bit. They gave us a bit of...
I believe we're saying that.
Something.
We're being quite critical, to be honest, but it was boring. It was a snooze fest. We're rolling into quali now, so Q2.
Sorry, yeah, we got a bit sidetracked there. Q2. Who went out in Q2?
It was
Tsunoda.
Yeah.
Lawson, Alonso, Sainz, Gasly. So I think
no shockers, right?
Well, Tsunoda, big shock.
Yes, but no.
No, after the pace he was setting in all the practice sessions, I know he didn't put it together in every session, but he was pretty good. Like, he was consistently running in the top 10 times. I thought for sure was going to make Q3 for sure.
Yeah.
Even if he qualified 10th, he's definitely going to be in the top 10. Yeah, he was out-qualified by Lawson.
Yeah, which is like super controversial, right?
Slap in the face.
Massive slap in the face.
So either the Red Bull car is just a bit of a tractor, or I think it is a bit of a tractor.
We've got tractors, we've got lawnmowers, we've got it all. This round.
I think Max is just exceptional, and he would have put any car he was driving in P1. So spoiler alert, Max gets pole.
When he got pole and when he put that car in front of Lando, I was just, oh my gosh, he's a magician.
He is.
An absolute magician.
And even listening to his radio at the end of that lap when they told him he got P1, the amount of emotion in his voice.
Good on him. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, it's been a long time. So when was the last time he had pole? It was like
last year in Austria, I think. Like, that is a very... I think I heard that somewhere. 9
races ago?
Yes, or he got it in Spa, but he had to take an engine penalty, so he didn't actually start at the front.
Right. Yeah, so Q3 results. So Max, Lando, Oscar made top 3. Top 3. Then you had Charles, George Russell, Kimi Antonelli, and Isaac Hadjar. My goodness, you go.
Rookie comeback.
Yeah, absolutely love it. And then Lewis Hamilton up in 8th with Alex Albon 9 and Oliver Bearman in 10.
Yes, I think Sainz was supposed to be somewhere up there, and he got a 3-grid penalty because he was impeding Max. I think he was impeding in qualifying anyway. He got a 3-place penalty. Which, to be honest, I don't think it would have made much of a difference. Like, Carlos was struggling all weekend. He was kind of nowhere. Overtook maybe 1 or 2 cars, but then he kind of was just, rolling around the track.
So I guess, like, going into Suzuka, we kind of all knew that it's not a race where you can overtake, right? Everyone always compares it to Monaco.
Yeah.
Because of its high-speed corners and stuff. So this qualifying was so important. Mm-hmm. Absolutely heartbreaking that McLaren was on the 1-2 for me. But it was still a really good mix, I feel.
I think going back to Max putting it on pole and how he was so emotional, I think because he outdrove the car, he knew that the rate, like, it's so hard to overtake at Suzuka. So he knew how important qualifying was. And in his post-race press conference, he said he nearly crashed the car 5 times because he was just sending it around those corners like a madman. Just like a Mad Max, literally just doing everything and more to get that car as far up the grid as he could, because he knew that come race day, it was going to be hard to overtake, especially when you're not in the fastest car. So he won that race on Saturday, basically, because he can trust in himself. He knows what his abilities are at the race. He can chuck in consistent laps and just stay at the front and keep going. He's done that before time and time again. Yeah. But he had to put himself in that position, and he did that. I think everyone was kind of in awe of what he did that day. How
could you not be?
It was amazing. Yeah. Because he outdrove his car, which all his other P1s he got in the last few years, he was in the most dominant car. So not that it doesn't mean as much, but it's not as hard. He's probably not driving the car right on the limit. He's just driving it, and because the car does have so much pace, it puts him in P1. Yeah. Whereas he had to trust in his ability this time, and he got it done. So hats off to him. Well done.
Bravo, Max.
Good boy. Good job. So anything else? Oh, side note, Isaac Hadjar, all his issues he had with his...
The seatbelt?
The seatbelt?
Was it the seatbelt?
It was the seatbelt, but the way Ted went down to the garage, I think he spoke to his mechanics, and without saying it, the seatbelt is kind of encasing all the below area. I think they use the words upper leg area. And he was in pain, poor thing.
Yeah, and visibly in pain. Like you
Yeah.
could see if you were on board with him on his dash cam, lol. If you were on board with him, you could see he kept grabbing, like
Adjusting.
going down and adjusting because he was visibly in pain. And when he was even back in the garage and they were trying to adjust it for him, his face,
Yeah.
it was like, what do you mean? And thank God they fixed it.
Thank God they fixed it. And also, the way he was able to just put it aside, move on, and think, okay, it's another session, switch off. Because that's basically driving at 300 kilometers per hour in pain. That would be hard. I know how hard it is to just, drive up the street and then have a sneeze in the car. And you're like, okay, where am I? It's not the easiest thing to do. So I can't imagine. So hats off to him. First year in F1, has all these issues, puts them aside, gets back in the car. P7.
Last bang, 8th. 7? 8?
7?
7?
7 or 8? 7.
7.
I think he finished P8, but he qualified P7.
Yeah.
And he did start on the grid next to Lewis Hamilton, which is his
idol.
So that would have been a cool moment for him, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that pretty much sums up qualifying. Was there anything else that stood out?
I guess not necessarily standouts, but I think something that we should probably be keeping our eye on is the team matchups and who's out qualifying who. And obviously at the moment there are some standouts in terms of teammates, like your Alex Albon's out qualifying
Carlos.
Obviously, Carlos is still getting used to that car and it will take him quite a bit to get used to. But Alex has really been putting it in that top 10 and doing really well compared to last year. And then you've also got Ollie Behrman really throwing it out of the park compared to Esteban.
Surprising.
So surprising. Esteban coming in 18th and then Ollie at 10th. It's just, where is Esteban lately? I know that we'll talk about it coming into the race and he does slowly make his way back up, but in qualifying, he's just not been there.
Yeah. And the Haas has always, historically been known as a great Saturday car. Over one lap, kills it, and not so good in the race. And Esteban is usually really good on a Saturday. So, yeah, it is a bit interesting to watch what's going on there.
And then Kick-Sauber, Nico and Gabriel are still bottom line there, but no massive differences.
No.
So, yeah, I think Williams and Haas, very interesting.
Very interesting. But also, it's really nice to see how Williams is still nurturing Carlos, in comparison to, say, Red Bull. 2 sessions, quali hasn't been there, kick them out.
Yeah.
They give their drivers time to adjust, and even in press conferences, they don't make excuses for their drivers, but they explain why maybe they weren't so good in qualifying, whereas Red Bull, it's not good enough. On to the next, which I can't imagine how that type of environment would be to work in. It wouldn't feel very nice.
Yeah, you can't even imagine, right?
No, and when someone asked Kimi Antonelli what he thought about Liam Lawson getting demoted back to the V-Carb team, he said, I think you need to nurture the rookie drivers, just how Mercedes treats me. I think is a really great example of how they treat their young talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah.
On to better things, right? More exhilarating things. Like the race.
Thank goodness we didn't set our alarms at 3 a.m., make a coffee and get up for this one. I think we were very lucky that it was in our time zone and we could just watch it on a Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that explains the race. Sunday drive.
That's the race in a nutshell.
Sunday afternoon, very chill, calm.
I don't know about you, Natalie, but I was in some random pub by myself with a glass of Prosecco, glued to the TV waiting for something to happen, along with all the other random people there watching it with me.
It actually sounds like a dream. Prosecco in a pub alone.
It would have been better if something happened.
No, for sure.
But Max started on pole, finished first. What a victory. He secured his 4th consecutive at Suzuka. And I think we can all agree that he demonstrated to be exceptional in control.
beyond.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to it, right? I mean, there's a lot to it, but there's not much to it in terms of playing it back, and he's just brilliant.
As soon as Max got that launch off the line that he did, he was already, I don't know, 3 car lengths up on both Oscar and Lando within a second.
Yeah.
You just knew he was going to be P1 at the first corner.
Yeah.
And then he's done this before. He knows this track. It's a driver's track. He's the best driver out there at the moment. It was going to take a lot for someone to be able to overtake him unless they did some crazy strategy. There was a red flag and, there was something else in it, because wheel-to-wheel racing, he's so hard to overtake.
And that's another reason why this, especially with this track, strategy is so important. But there was a lot of strategies where I was like, that could have been done a lot better.
100%.
Do they need to hire us? I'm joking. But
we're so overqualified. We're very underqualified. Very underqualified.
Absolutely. I can't even string a sentence together. Absolutely exceptional from Max. He just demonstrated why he's the best and defended it. In saying that, I know that he was obviously really strong up the front. In the past, he's probably had like a 10-second lead on everyone on that track.
More. I don't know what he won by last year, but it was ridiculous.
Probably there was a Red Bull one too.
And he bet Chico by a lot as well. So
yeah. And he has for the last 4 years had a significant distance to that P2 position. So in saying that,
dominant.
Very dominant. But McLaren also had a strong performance.
No,
and they were sitting behind him. Obviously not enough to make any moves, but
he just ran away with it.
Yeah. It just shows that they do have the faster car.
Yeah, which is also a bit like
annoying.
Frustrating, and like the driver's standings, there's 1 point in it. Where has Max came from? He's already number 2. There's 1 point in it.
Isn't that wild? Who knew that at this point the driver standings were going to be where they are?
I thought it would be Lando and Oscar just consecutively one-upping each other every race, who's going to be on top.
Yeah.
And then probably naive for us to discount Max, because he's just that kind of driver that can the 4th fastest car at P1 and win the race.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Hats off to him.
So McLaren would still had a really strong performance, but in saying that, there was, there's this whole intra-team competition, and what does that mean? It's obvious that they've not got a designated lead driver, and is that affecting their strategy?
Think from a team point of view, not that they don't care, but as long as their drivers are going to be in 2 and 3, they don't care which order they come, because it's the same amount of points for the constructors in the end.
Yeah.
So
should they have at least pushed
let Oscar
to try and be a 1 and 3 and let him try and chase Max down? Like, he was pretty adamant that he had the pace to do it.
They're competitive people. They're competitive racers at heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
They all think they've got the pace to do it. And no one wants to come second to their teammate.
Yeah.
I think
it was Papaya rules, so they were open to race.
They were open to race, and if Oscar can't catch Lando and overtake him on his own merit, how's he going to catch Max and overtake Max?
Yeah,
it's not that track. I think whoever outqualifies one another on the Saturday, they get priority. Lando outqualified Oscar, and I think I wouldn't be going, overtake me, see what you can do. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
a
hard one.
Do you think they should have, when it came to pitting?
Yeah, they should always give first priority to the car in front. They stuffed that up last year.
Yeah.
And we had that whole fiasco with give back the position over the radio between the boys, and then they did it again. So I don't know.
They did again. And also I feel like, God, like, I know what they were trying to do in terms of pitting at the same time of Max and then the whole lawnmower situation, and let's talk about that in a second. But sure, would you not let him just get out in front and leave him out for another 2 laps and see if that was going to make a difference? I don't know. That was really frustrating to watch.
Yeah, they didn't know how powerful or not powerful the undercut could have been, or so they were playing it safe. They wanted the full haul of points, and they knew if they pitted at the same time, neither of them were going to lose track position. But I do think you either strategize to win.
Yeah.
And what else can you do? And I think that's where Red Bull is really good with their strategy. They don't wait for other teams to make a decision and then react. They go in with their own strategy, what they know is going to work, confident in their decisions. And that's why they always capitalize on their races. I think their strategy is always on the top.
Oh, it is. It's top tier.
McLaren could take a few pointers from the Red Bull strategists, for sure.
Shall we send that to them in an email?
Yes. The whole race could have been an email.
Yeah, it was, being a McLaren girlie, that was quite frustrating, especially towards the end, and Oscar just getting so close but just not making it. And then, as you were saying, like, if he can't even overtake Lando, then is it the whole thing of like his tires? It was right at the end of the race. I think they had 10 laps?
Something like that.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It's done now.
It's done.
Yeah.
So we had obviously Max P1, then Lando, then Oscar. We had, was it Charles
P4, mixed results for Ferrari.
I know. And then the two Mercedes, 5 and 6.
Yeah.
And it's so good to see Kimi just right up there.
Well done. Making history. Kimi making history.
Yep. When he was leading the race, I was like, come on, red flag, something. Let's give this boy a win, It would have been amazing.
For those that don't know, he did make history by becoming the youngest driver to lead a race. And he set the fastest lap.
He did.
Go, Kimi.
It's good. It's just nice seeing him do well.
Yeah.
And then we had Lewis Hamilton in 7th. Kind of just...
He's remaining optimistic, isn't he?
He overtook Isaac, and then he just kind of ran his own race.
Yeah.
In the no man's land.
Yeah. Is he just waiting for those car upgrades?
I think so.
What are the performance issues, He's just fresh. It's all fresh for him. He's still waiting for that car to kick in.
And it's not just the car. Obviously, we see them drive the car, but his radio messages with his engineer.
You can tell that they need some dance lessons.
Or some couples counselling.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
They need something.
Yeah.
Which corners am I slowing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like,
give me times.
Give him some info. Give him some help. Yeah.
I guess that's the hardest thing, right? Going from one driver to the next, and you're so, you build they've got such close relationships, right? The driver and
their engineers.
They're a married couple at that point. So, they're just got to go on a few dates. They'll be fine. They'll sort it out, I'm sure. But it's just takes time. It's frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah. And Bono were just like,
They were on cloud 9.
Side note, did you see that Kimi bought Bono a birthday cake?
Cute.
And was singing him happy birthday, and then they were mucking around and he wiped some in his face. And I just thought, I wonder if Lewis is just watching these videos.
Somebody's watching.
Literally. It's like breaking up and then watching it play out when they meet their new boyfriend or girlfriend. Sad. Really sad. But
yeah.
That's what happens when you change teams.
Mm-hmm. Buckle up.
What else happened?
Yuki's debut.
Yuki's debut. Speaking of Yuki, he got voted driver of the day. So those Japanese fans, they go hard.
Oh, they absolutely
go hard for their hometown hero.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, he finished 12th, so
he did.
It's better than what Red Bull was getting.
Yeah, still no points, which is what they wanted for the victors. But when you've got Max winning the race, you don't need 1 or 2 points that you're going to get from 9th or 10th position. You know what I thought was funny? We're both joking about how it was a boring race and whatnot. In the cool-down room interviews at the end of the race, did you see Oscar when they were watching the highlights?
Yeah.
They're watching and he's like, is that all that happened in the race?
I love Oscar. He's got such a dry humour, and it's just right up my alley.
Yeah, it's funny. If the drivers are commenting on the lack of excitement.
Yeah.
I think
the most exciting thing that happened to Oscar was when Lando just whoops on the chicane on the last lap.
Oh yeah.
Did you see him? He's like, cheeky.
The banter's great between them.
So good.
It was so funny as well when Max and Lando were coming out of the pits and, Lando pulled up all the grass because he drove off the track. How hard both drivers go on the radio to get the other one some kind of, penalization or
Yeah, I know. And I
penalization
was
or
like, Lando, come on, are you serious?
oh no, he pushed me off track.
And then you're sitting on Max's dash, and where is Lando? Lando's not there. Max is just like minding his own business, and Lando's just out there like with the whippersnipper.
He wasn't even there.
Oh my goodness.
And even Max, I reckon Max knows every single regulation in the FIA rulebook because as soon as Lando's there, he's like, he didn't lift his brake simulator or whatever he was saying, limiter, his brake limiter. He didn't switch it off at the pit in the pit exit or whatever. He knows every rule to get ahead, which, hats off to him. That's what you got to do. But then both of them are so adamant on the radio that, the other one's wrong. They get into the cool down room after. They're watching it like, haha, that's so funny.
I know, and then they're sitting in the press conference. What happened with coming out of the pit? Oh, well, Lando saw that the grass was a little bit long, so he decided to go cut it. And then Lando comments, and Lando's like, yeah, as Max said, I just saw the grass was long and I decided to go cut it.
It's so funny.
Yeah. In the moment, obviously, they're going to do whatever they can to better their position. But
yeah,
that was insane. And the most exciting thing that happened in the race.
True competitors, both of them. But no, it is funny. It's nice to see that work's work. They can put it aside and, if Max or Lando did get a penalty, I'm sure the mood would have been a little bit different afterwards. But no, I definitely thought I liked seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. How about just like the fact that it was a clean race? That's how exciting this race was. We are talking about how clean it was. The execution, all 20 cars finished.
I know.
Every single lap, no incidents.
No retirements.
No flags, no rain.
Not even a fire in the race. A grass fire.
It was just wicked clean.
Which is not what I expected because crashes, fires, beached in the gravel, Alonso in one of the practice sessions. So many things were happening. One of the practice sessions had 5 red flags, or 4 or 5. And then the race comes along. Bow, bow. Wake me up when it's finished. Thank God we have another race, I think, this week. Going to Bahrain.
Yes, we're going to Bahrain.
Night race. Under the lake.
Exciting. So temps are going to get hotter.
To the desert. So
we're obviously expecting it to be a lot hotter.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on Bahrain?
Last year were 36 overtakes, so we're at least going to get double the amount of overtakes that we got at SUZUKA.
Woo!
As the bare minimum. So I'm just excited about that, really. Just the overtaking potential. Lots of low, medium speed corners.
Yeah.
So I think Ferrari might do well this weekend.
Possibly, yes.
They always do well in the more warmer temperatures.
Yeah.
So maybe Lewis is going to have another comeback weekend.
Hopefully.
Boost his confidence a little bit.
It would be good. And I think the reason why the drivers potentially love this track, it's got a lot of overtaking opportunities, but they do have to be careful about the track surface is meant to be quite abrasive and their time management is going to be so important, especially with the heat on the track as well. The car's just going to be thrown out of whack.
I'm excited. It should be good. And a night race is always cool to watch under the lights. It just gives it a different vibe.
Hell yeah. And what about last year? How'd they go last year? It was actually the first race of the season last year.
It was. They had to change it up because of Ramadan this year. So that's why Melbourne got it again, which I'm not mad about because it was a good race. I love the opener in Melbourne. Love it. Because they usually do testing in Bahrain. So you kind of know, okay, they've had a whole week of testing there and then they go to race there.
Yeah.
You know how the cars are going to do. So when they have the first race where they're not testing, I think it just adds a little bit more spice to the weekend and the unknown. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go out on a limb.
Yeah.
Put my Ferrari cap on.
Oh.
I don't know where it is, but it's in my bedroom. But no, putting my Ferrari cap on. And I'm going to say Charles on pole.
Charles on pole.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to do it. He's quick. He's quick over one lap.
Mm.
And I know the Ferrari hasn't been the fastest beast, but I don't know,
It
just
hasn't. But they do good at this track.
something in my bones is telling me they're going to do well this weekend.
Sizzle, sizzle. Okay, Charles on pole. Okay, well, oh gosh, I don't even know where I'm going to go with pole. I want to be so random and say that it's going to be Georgie boy, my Georgie boy. He's sitting up there at the moment, and I know we don't talk about him a lot. He's really going under the radar, and I want him to just be up there. So I'm going to put George as pole.
So I went to edit this morning and we got chopped off. So
We did.
Redo our predictions. We pick up where we left off. Al, you just told us that Georgia Boy's going to be P1.
P1. Yes, I did say that George is going to be on pole, and I'm so excited about it. But let's go straight into who's going to get that top three. We'll start with P3 with you, Nat.
P3, Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
Max, he's back. Yeah. I think he got a taste for victory, and I don't think he's going to be the quickest, but I definitely think he's going to be up there. So, yeah, I'm going Max. Who are you going for P3?
P3. So I am going to go with Lewis for P3.
Yeah, love that.
Just to, come on. It's time. Let's go.
It is. Come on, Lewis. And him a podium. P2, I'm going to say Charles. I know I said he was going to get pole, but I think that someone else is just going to have the pace over him throughout the race. So I think he's going to do really well, but I'm going to go Charles P2. Okay, so my P2, I'm actually going to go for Max for P2. Okay.
As we've discussed, I've never really been a great fan of Max, but actually he said something cheeky this morning in an interview, and he was like, if I was in a McLaren, you wouldn't even catch me.
I know.
I was just like,
shade.
So yeah, really excited. Max is back, obviously. Hopefully that carries him into this weekend, and we'll see him on P2.
P2, all right. My P1, Lando Norris.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he's going to come off the back of Japan, point to prove, consolidate his lead in the championship, and put a few more points between him and Max Verstappen. So I'm going P1, Lando Norris. What are you doing?
And I'm coming right behind you with P1 Lando Norris, because absolutely he's going to get it. We have both said the same thing and agree that if he doesn't get that championship this year, will he ever get it?
I know, this is his year.
So P1 is Lando Norris for me.
Yeah, I think regulations change next year, and if he doesn't get it this year, it's always going to be woulda, shoulda, coulda, and just really sad for him. So come on, Lando.
Let's get it done.
Let's do it. Let's win the race.
I can't believe I didn't put my boy Oscar up there, but
you didn't. Yeah, what's happening to Oscar?
They just didn't perform really well last year at Bahrain. I don't know why I didn't go him, but I'm just mixing it up a little bit, I think.
All right, so I'm going Lando P1, Charles P2, and Max P3, and Al is going
Lando P1, Max P2, Louis in P3.
All right, lock it in. Thanks for listening again, guys, to our second episode.
We're very excited to be back, although it was the boring one. It was. We keep going. Thank you again for listening and for all your support. It's been so nice to see that our streams are getting up there, which is really cool. And we'll catch you at the end of this week, because we're on a back-to-back.
We are. Very exciting. Thanks for sticking with us. We appreciate it.
Ciao.
See you later.